Hello, everyone. Last week, I previewed today's Wednesday Minute on the subject of abortion. This is one of the biggest debates of our time. It's a very controversial and sensitive subject matter. So before I begin, no matter what your past is, no matter where you stand on the issue of abortion, I just want to affirm God's love for you. We as Christians, we are covered in the blood of Jesus. We serve a God that is loving, merciful, compassionate, and forgiving. Psalm 103:12 states, "As far as the east is from the west, so far does he remove our transgressions from us." All right. So, according to the Pew Research Center, a recent study stated that 61% of people believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases, where just 37% of people believe that abortion should be illegal in all or most cases. Likewise, a study that came out just this summer from Gallup stated that 61% of people believe that Roe v. Wade should not have been overturned by the Supreme Court. So this really begs the question then, if we as a nation support something that is opposed and called murder by 37%, how do we reconcile those two things? How do we reconcile those two different viewpoints? According to the Boston Medical Center's Women Health Study in 2013, people support abortion for two main reasons. Number one, financial, and number two, it wasn't the right time. So if we as a society see pregnancy as something that can be easily discarded, we can conclude then that we have tossed out the sanctity of human life in the womb as a principle in our society. Since 1973, when the Roe v. Wade decision came down, 63 million abortions have occurred. That's 63 million human lives. According to Pew Research Center, 86% of abortions happen outside of marriage, whereas just 14% of abortions happen inside marriage. So if 86% of these abortions are happening outside of wedlock, and a large majority of those people are saying that financial reasons and it not being the right time are the two main reasons for their abortions, we can logically conclude that the most prominent reason for abortions was sexual intercourse outside of marriage, where sexual pleasure took precedent over the baby's life. The Bible places a high value on human life. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 states, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you." God consecrates life in the womb. He knows us before he even forms us. So life in the womb matters to God. Likewise, in a very dark period in Israel's history, Jeremiah chapter 7 states this, "And they have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I did not command, nor did it come into my mind." God didn't even fathom that the Israelites would sacrifice their own children to a false god called Moloch for the sake of their own prosperity and pleasure. But they did. We know that God intends for children to come out of marriage. He commands in the Bible that sexual intercourse should not happen outside of a marriage. And we know that 86% of these abortions are happening outside of marriage where sexual intercourse occurred and then a baby was unwanted. Matthew 19:5-6 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh." God always intended for children to come out of marriage, just as he intended sexual intercourse for marriage. But so much sexual intercourse today is happening outside of marriage. And that 86% statistic is indicative of the fact that there are unwanted consequences for sex. The wanted consequence is the pleasure. The unwanted consequence is the baby that is formed in the womb outside of wedlock. So we as Christians, how do we live in the world and not be of the world? Well, we're in the world where in November there's going to be something on the ballot which is essentially going to try to legalize abortion up to 24 weeks in the womb. Right now, we live under the Heartbeat Bill, which essentially states that abortions cannot occur after 8 weeks, although that decision has been stayed in the courts. So we live in a time where we as Christians have to think hard about what we actually support. What does the Bible say? How can we have compassion on people with unwanted pregnancies while at the same time adhering to God's values, that God values the sanctity of human life, both inside the womb and outside the womb? Until next time, God bless you.